Hey, what's up? Good morning, y'all. With so much going on in the world, so many people hurting, enduring, and just so many of us fighting the good fight of faith, I started this short series called Beautiful Breakthroughs. My goal is to check in every day with short messages to encourage and empower you. Have any of y'all ever struggled deeply with something that God was asking you to do? Like, accept a terminal report or sudden death of someone you love? Or how about just forgiving someone that refuses to apologize? That is a tough one. Now, don't judge me, but if I can be honest, I have struggled with so many things like that. In fact, the other night, I was just sharing with someone about one of those times, and now God has set my heart on fire to share it with all of you. My baby girl, Brielle, spent her first 7 months in the hospital. As many of you guys know, she was born prematurely with severe blockage in her intestines. But what many of you don't know is that she had her first major surgery less than 24 hours after being born. And that was extremely difficult. However, she spent the first 4 months in the NICU and then the next 3 months in a rehabilitation facility. Now, for those 7 months, she had a tube that ran into her nose, down her throat, and into her stomach. That was the only way she could ingest her milk. Well, shortly before she went home, her doctors required that my husband and I learn how to insert this tube. You know, the one that goes into her nose, down her throat, and into her stomach. But get this, if it was done wrong, it could result in her ingesting milk into her lungs. And every scenario they gave with that happening, they were all detrimental. My husband is a paramedic, and so he didn't really have an issue with it. But that was not the case for me. I panicked. What if I inserted it wrong? What if I pushed too hard and punctured something like an organ, a muscle, a cell, or what if this? What if that? I mean, my mind just raced with so many thoughts. And wait, did I even mention that she gagged every time it had to be inserted? Which meant I gagged too every time I watched them insert it. Man, I wrestled with God. I just couldn't understand why he was allowing me to go through this or trusting me with such a task. Well, finally, after all the tears, fears, and resistance, I humbled myself. I surrendered to God and I told him yes. My prayer was just something like, "Nevertheless, Lord, not my will, but yours be done." When I finally got to that point, y'all, a huge weight was lifted off of me. And at a time where there was so much stress, I felt so much peace rush in. Now get this, the next day, Brielle pulled her tube out. But instead of the doctors reinserting it like they always did, they decided to leave it out. And it has never gone back in. I realized when I look at the situation that all God wanted was my yes. He wanted me to come to the end of myself so he could enter in and do the great work that only he could do. The great work that he promised. Friends, if there's something that you've been struggling to release to God, or just something so heavy that you've been carrying and you've been battling with, or you've been trying over and over and over to work it out on your own, Lord knows I'm guilty of that, but you recognize today that you can't do it in your own strength, then now is the time for you to surrender to God and just say yes. Today, Brielle is 9 years old. Yeah, she has some minor health nuances here and there, but overall she is completely healed, and I promise you, she looks nothing like what she's been through. I'm sure some of y'all have seen her in my Facebook post or my Instagram post, but I still get really emotional when I talk about this because I remember how God healed her. I remember those 7 months. And then when she came home, she still had to go through therapies and a process. But I remember God's faithfulness. I remember his patience, especially with me because I complained so much. But God was so loving with me. He sent so many people to encourage me. And he always gave me what I need. So check this out. This is my prayer for you today. First of all, if you don't even know this guy that I'm talking about, first my prayer is that you will allow God to come into your heart and into your life, just so you can get to know him for yourself. He loves you so much. Yeah, it's cool to hear me talk about him or to read about other people talk about him, but God is calling for his own relationship with you. He wants you to get to know him and to get to do things in your life that you can share with others too. But then here's my second prayer for you today. If you've been sitting on something, maybe I don't know, it can be a book. It could be, maybe it was a business or going back to school, and God has been telling you to do it, but you've been wrestling with doubt, or your schedule has just been so busy that you haven't really made an effort to do it. Today is the time for you to say yes. Today is the time for you to move on it, because God wants to bless you, and I promise you, especially when things look difficult, at the end of it is the blessing. And God wants you to obtain that blessing. So I really hope that this message encouraged you, but more than anything, I hope many of you guys will say yes. So thanks so much for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another word, and I love you guys. Peace.